Why are we using the map of time in Pata-Cluj project? Well, I would tell you, I was not teaching the map of time first to the facilitators, but first I went to the Roma community and presented it to them and showed how they could use it in trying to find out, are we talking about the same thing? Are we at the same time? Are we talking about terrible things that happened in the past? Are we all at the same level here and now? Are we talking about visions, or are we making plans? So distinguish between those, because unnecessary energy goes into misunderstandings and unnecessary conflicts occur. And I'm very happy that for almost half a year the map of time was on the wall. We use it also for the facilitators and for all the people who are involved in the project, because we find exactly the same problem. That when someone is talking about visions, the other person might interpret it from like, this is reality. So we block each other instead of finding, are we at the same time and space? Another thing that does not belong to the map of time, but we use a lot, is to say, are we seeing the same movie? Are we doing a science fiction movie? And how does my movie differ from your movie? And when we work all together with the community and everyone who is involved in the projects, we also need, in order to be efficient, that when it is reality time, that we don't use that time on too many new ideas, but that we have already worked on the ideas so we can straighten up and go back to reality, do strategic planning, do part goals, and check as we go if we are on the right road. Creating a safe space is, I would say, it's like creating the quality of what a good grandmother or a good grandfather would almost automatically do, which is to make people feel at ease, that they are okay, to protect the space that we have together. The safe space is a concept in psychotherapy, but it is also something that we automatically do. That if we rush in with reality issues, it will be too quick for people. And I'm thinking about the campaign that they had in Africa, where people from America, they wanted to do good things to prevent AIDS. And they put all these big posters on safe sex and how to protect yourself and this and that. And then they were sending out facilitators that were trained to talk about sex, only that that's not the way you do it in Africa. How could you just knock on someone's door and talk about safe sex? First, you have to know the people, then you have to ask, how are the grandparents, how are the children, how is the crop going, what's going on in the community, and slowly, and they will ask you the questions back, and when you feel that the time is ready, you can move into more sensitive issues. In the project of Pata-Cluj, I think to create a safe space is to do what you normally do with your friends. You don't meet up with your friends always because I have an issue that I want to discuss with you. But we meet, we talk, we have coffee, and we enjoy being together. And we get to know each other. As we get to know each other, we are also creating a safe space. And this is not just between us and them, like the Roma community and the non-Roma community, but this goes up and down in the whole project. In fact, we're working with something which is called isomorphy, which means of the same structure. Not to treat people in a different way, but people are people, and to treat everyone in the same way, respectfully, warmly, and the best thing is we can also have a good sense of humor, because that's a real icebreaker. To create a safe space in an institutional level is a bit different though. When we work on an institutional level, we clarify tremendously much our different roles. We explain why, according to this, in my role as a school inspector, for instance, my role is to come and visit schools and see if you follow the laws of the National Education Board, or whatever it's called in your country. If I am the director of a hospital, I might have private ideas about how everything should be run, and I can explain that only if I say, these are my private ideas. We have to know when to put on the role hat. One of the most important things when you work with groups, whether institutional, family groups or whatever, is that in the safe space we are prepared to listen to each and everybody's voice. We don't do mediation because we don't want to mediate and negotiate. We believe in sharing feelings, sharing thoughts, which we will only do if we have managed to create the safe space. But if you work in an institution or if you work in a community, one of the most important things to create a safe space is structure, that we know the rule of the game. We don't say to teenagers, come on, have sports, have sports. We have to know to what we invite them. If we invite them to football, we have to say, this is football. And if it's not enough, is it American football? Or is it another kind of football? Are we allowed to touch the ball with our hand, or are we not? To establish the basic structure, this is what we are going to talk about. We are going to share stories about how we perceived what happened, how were we affected, and what are our needs. I find that extremely seldom do we have to solve problems. Normally, by this way of being, using the safe space and using the listening to the others and sharing our stories, normally conflicts dissolve, as if it was an ice sculpture. It's not anymore an ice sculpture. It has been, it becomes water or mist or clouds or whatever, because now we are enriched by the stories of other people. Before it was my movie and the right movie, and I was hurt. When we listen to the stories of the others, we will see that, oh, interesting. They perceive we were in the same place and we perceived something totally different. When we work internationally and we work with different cultures, we might hurt each other by overstepping cultural codes. And that is one of the challenges which we have in the Pata-Cluj project, that we perhaps don't have time, because information is also extremely important for creating the safe space. It is engagement, explanation, and expectancy clarity. And I don't think that nowadays we explain that in my culture we do like this and that, and it means this and that. And in another culture, the same thing means something else. Like when I was running a group in Bulgaria the first time, I was really enthusiastic. I was running a theater group. I was enthusiastic, and whatever, when I asked the people, are you with me, should we do this, everyone goes. And I say, and I start again, and I say, yes, yes, are you with me? And they looked very politely, and they go, I think they didn't say because, of course, it meant dada. Cultural code.